Hey, thanks so much for joining us today. Today, Vanessa Williams and I are together. Hey, Vanessa.
Hey Anne, how are you?
Great. How's it going?
It's going.
Going. Hey, this is April 2019. This is a 7 universal month. So Vanessa and I got talking here recently, and we realized that a lot of our clients are coming to us saying that they're feeling stuck in a rut. They're spinning their wheels.
hmm Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm also feeling it as well. I think we're all feeling that hurry up and wait energy.
Right?
It's kind of like a suspended feeling where it's like, okay, when's the ball gonna drop?
No, it's been really frustrating, and I don't know. It's here, definitely here on the East Coast. The spring is taking its time. The guys are supposed to be setting their lobster traps. They can't. The weather's not decent enough for it, I guess, at this point. So anyway, lobsters might be delayed.
Well, it's good news for the lobsters.
All right. Anyway, it's all good. But we just thought we would come on. We're going to do a tandem reading today. So Vanessa's going to be pulling her tarot cards. I'm going to be pulling my numerology cards. And we're going to find out what the heck is this energy all about and what can we do about it? How can we rise above it so that we can really take advantage of the energy that the universe is sending us? Knowing that, right out of the get-go, the 7 universal energy this month is causing all of us to feel a little bit introspective, a little bit reflective. We're kind of sitting back on our timeout chairs and questioning what's my next move, right? So sometimes it's not about being type A as Vanessa and I can be, trying to get things done all the time. Sometimes you just kind of have to suck back and sit down, or they say sit down, shut up, and hang on for the ride, like wait to be assigned kind of thing. So
Exactly. And that's mainly, I think, a lot of it to do with what's going on in the sky right now, astrology speaking.
yeah,
So, you know that last month was that crazy super full moon in Libra. And what a super full moon means is that there's 2 full moons in the same sign back to back. So it's another full moon in Libra, which is going to hit you with your moon in Libra. It's going to hit me as well. Anybody who's influenced by Libra energy or the planet Venus is going to get, well, anybody's going to get hit by it.
how are we going
And
to be affected by that? Pause, guys. This isn't all about me moment. How am I going to get affected by this?
well, I'd have to look at your chart. But essentially, everybody is going to be called once again to kind of balance out their relationships.
Okay.
So the last super full moon, we probably had a little bit of a blow up when it came to relationships and finding that harmony. And then this is kind of like the final word where it's kind of like that nail in the coffin, and you can finally release and let go of the things that aren't bringing you balance in your life. But not only that, Anne, it's all the retrogrades. So Friday is that full moon in Libra, and it actually forms a grand trine in cardinal signs, fire signs. So we have all that fiery energy that kind of wants to slingshot us forward, but then the full moon in Libra is like, hey, wait, no, we need patience, we need balance, and we need harmony before we can go for it. And then all the retrogrades just added on top of it. It's a lot of hurry up and wait.
Well, this is a 4-year.
Like, it is just unbelievable. So Jupiter went retrograde April 10th, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So, and it's also that lucky planet. So when that's retrograde, it's kind of like the luck is stalled and the expanded energy is stalled. Then we have Pluto and Saturn going retrograde on the 24th and the 29th. Pluto is your transformations. Saturn is your authority. So everything's going internalized. we can't express it outward. It's all internalized.
Yeah.
You know, couple that with the 7 energy, and people aren't even in their world. They're in their head, right?
Yeah. So and 7s, people with life path number 7s are really going to be affected by this.
Right. Oh, yes.
So it would not surprise me if a goodly amount of 7s tune into this video, because you guys really need to hear it. I'm a 7, and I think, so I'm definitely in the headspace of, what next? What's the next move? And
Right.
I like to get things going all the time because I am an Aries, but sometimes you just have to sit back and let it roll out in perfect divine timing.
See, and that's another frustrating thing. The Aries energy is all about go, go, go. And
since you know one speed.
Yeah. And since we can't go right now, it's kind of creating a lot of impatience, a lot of frustration, and a lot of neediness, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm seeing that. A lot. actually.
Oh, me too, for sure. But it's not a bad thing. You know, we all need help sometimes. And
Absolutely.
for people to be asking for help during Aries season is quite incredible, right?
No, we're kind of an independent sort of class.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Well, I've got my cards ready. You got yours?
Sure. Yes.
Let's
So
do
I'm
this.
going to ask for 5 cards to pop out for us for the Stuck in a Rut tarot reading and numerology reading. 5 cards. I may have to force them. Okay, I'm going to force them. 2. Oh, there's 1. There's 2. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so Anne, the first card is why are we stuck in this rut? Okay, and it is the 7 of Wands. Okay, so the 7 of Wands, as you can see, this person is on unstable foundation. This person, there's actually a crack forming in their foundation. They're wearing opposite matching shoes, so 1 running shoe and 1 construction boot, which makes me think that while our foundation is crumbling around us, we can either run away with our running shoe or we can stay and fight and work on it. No matter what, it's going to be a positive benefit, but that's the reason why we're stuck in this rut, is because our foundation is shifting so much where we have a decision now to either stay and fight for what we want or maybe to kind of walk away and decide on something else. Right. So we're stuck in this rut to go internal, to look at what we want and to try and figure out the path that we should take.
Well, that's interesting because when we first started this conversation, we decided that 7 is the universal month and 7 is the timeout.
Oh my.
Right?
So we should stay and kind of ponder before making any decisions.
This is time out. It's a time that we're supposed to just sit back and allow things to roll through. But remember, when we're looking at time out, we're looking at the 7 energy. We're looking about trust and surrender, right? Tossing up the keys to that bus and saying, "Hey, I know you got this," kind of thing, and trusting the divine and understanding that we are always in divine perfection. Right? Until we tell ourselves we're not in divine perfection, we are always in divine perfection. We're exactly where we need to be. We're surrounded by the people we need to be surrounded by. Everything, every moment is in divine perfection. So we just have to suck it up and sit in our time out chairs.
Right. You know, that just makes me think, and when I look back to this time last year, and I kind of go through the process and the steps got me to where I am right now, I am starting to realize that, yeah, everything happened exactly how it was supposed to happen. Yeah. So maybe that's what we should do with our time out, is just kind of reflect back on this last year and how much we kind of just, instead of forcing it, realize that everything had to happen the way that it happened without our push, right? Just with faith and trust.
And surrender.
Exactly. Oh, that's a hard thing.
Especially, again, going back to 7s, if your life path number happens to be a 7, you have a harder time with this whole trust issue, right? Because that's the main lesson that we're here to learn, is learn to trust in the divine. So it's not that we don't believe, but sometimes the 7s, the 1s, the 5s, the 7s in particular, kind of need to see it to believe it.
Right, more skeptical.
Right, where in fact it should be the other way around. Believe it and you will see it, right?
Right, absolutely. Wow, I just had a synchronicity.
Cool.
Very cool. Because I've been watching the show Lost, which I'm just realizing the synchronicity there. And in it, he literally said, Saeed said, I believe in what I can see. And as he said it, I'm like, wait, what? Like, you probably don't believe much then, because there's so much going on behind the scenes, right? Yes. Things that you can't see that you just have to feel within you and trust and surrender.
Yeah, exactly. It's not always easy, especially under this influence right now.
Right.
Numerologically, we've only got 2 more weeks of that.
Okay, good. And then we have our power back.
What's my team?
Okay, so are we ready for the next one?
Number 2, what are we looking for?
What's my first step to getting out of this rut? And funny enough, it's the Hanged Man, which is all about surrender. However, Anna, as you can notice, the Hanged Man, he's perfectly fine with surrendering. First of all, I see it as an inverted 4, like the way that his legs are crossed makes a 4. So he's okay with kind of turning his foundation upside down and turning his work upside down and just letting go and being okay with that surrender. It's also a 12, which is all about, you know, I think of the 12th house, which is the unseen world, things that are in our subconscious, but also in the collective conscious, right? Like there are things that a lot of the times you know that you never were taught, you don't understand why you know it, and that's because it's in the collective energy, and it's just sort of something that's known collectively, and that's what we need to tap into. It kind of pulls us away from ourselves and say, okay, well, maybe things aren't happening in my life right now because, you know, that person, it'll be a butterfly effect. If it works for me right now, it'll be disastrous for them. So we kind of need to wait for them to kind of, you know, assimilate before we can move forward. It's all about working within the whole as opposed to just the one. And that's the first step to getting out of this rut that we're in.
Spirit's got a great sense of humor this morning. Bam.
Surrender.
Isn't that awesome?
What number is that?
Number 91, which equates back to the 1, right?
We got 2 1s for you so far. We have a 7 and a 12 for me.
Isn't that interesting? So I just want to take a look at this for a second. These cards, by the way, are give credit where credit is due, are from Michelle Buchanan's deck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And just to read a brief bit of this, it says this card indicates a need to surrender your attachment to a particular situation or preferred outcome.
Ooh.
As your inability to let go is impeding your success. Desperation blocks manifestation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Therefore, the more you struggle to attract your desire, the more you push it away. By drawing this card, you're being encouraged to detach from the situation and surrender the outcome to the divine. You know, I love to tell this story. I'm going to tell it again for a second. My best friend was 16 years without a partner. She was raising her daughter and whatnot. Anyway, she decided she wanted to get back in the dating game. So she came to me, she said, what do I do? And I said, well, I want you to put it out there every single day. I want you to have no conditions on it. I don't want you saying you want tall, dark, and handsome with bags of money and make sure he's not living in the basement with his mother.
Not if there's anything wrong with that.
Right? We want to put it out there to say, I am so grateful that you're bringing me the perfect life partner in the perfect timing for me. So in connection with this card, it's not just putting no conditions on this, right? Mm-hmm. So she did this. And about 3 months later, she contacted me. She said, oh my God, I cannot believe how well that worked. I said, what are you talking about? She said, I said it. I put it out there every day. I said, I'm so grateful that you're bringing me the perfect life partner in the perfect timing for me. And she said, I met my soulmate. I'm like, no way. She said, yeah. But she said, Ann, I never, ever expected my soulmate to roll up in a wheelchair.
Wow. So if she had put the parameters, she never would have found her soulmate.
Exactly. That's right.
Unreal.
Right? So wow. We have to surrender with faith. We have to surrender and trust that, you know, they've got it. They've got it all figured out. But I think that we need to take conditions off of it sometimes.
Right, the parameters. I like that it said desperation is, what did it say? Desperation blocks abundance?
Yeah, absolutely. And
because, you know, when I was applying for when you apply for jobs when you're unemployed, you have that desperation where you will take any job. But it was when I was in a job and I was telling myself every day, even though I didn't like it, I was telling myself every day, I have the perfect job that's perfect for me. I have flexible hours. I stayed in the same job that I hated, but all of the conditions changed, you know, like my boss transferred, you know, I had ultimate freedom. So really being grateful for what you have, especially if it is relationships, being grateful for the relationships that you have right now will expand, right? And you'll radiate in.
Even to the obstacle, right?
Right. Wow. I love that story. I'm glad that you told it.
It just reminds us that you know, I always say, if you know what you want, you would have had it by now. Right.
Exactly.
Right? So, and I always finish my affirmations. I start them with, I'm so grateful. I never say, please bring me, because that comes from a lower vibration. Mm-hmm. I come from the assumptive approach. I just say, hey, I'm just so grateful. I affirm it, that you're bringing me, insert here, in the perfect timing for me.
Right.
Step off the bus, stop trying to drive it. Stop trying to figure out how it's going to happen. It's not your job to know that.
Right.
Your job is to have the faith, right?
You know, I was just re-studying the law of attraction, and one of the things that I forgot about was that the whole point of an affirmation is just to convince yourself, because
Yes.
we have infinite abundance and everything that we need, but we put our own blockers because of subconscious, you know, subliminal messaging and conditioning.
Yeah.
The affirmations are just convincing yourself to let go. You know,
Right.
I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy. You
Exactly.
convince yourself. I've done it on my nephew, you know, Hunter, are you happy? No. And I'm like, say that you're happy 3 times in a row. And by the 3rd time he was laughing. I'm like,
Yeah.
see, you can't tell yourself
Yeah.
that you're something without believing it, right?
That's right.
Unreal. Okay,
Right.
are you ready for the next?
I'm ready for the next.
What should we let go of? And it is the 3 of Cups. I think that with the media and with social media especially, there's a lot of comparison that we should be having the best time of our lives constantly, enjoying life, you know, partying, having fun, especially if you have a lot of male energy and a lot of male influence in your life. This need for, like, you know, drugs, sex, alcohol equals fun. We need to let go of that, because there's other ways to have fun. Think back to when you were a kid, before drugs and alcohol existed.
Yeah.
Drugs and alcohol was nature, was playing outside with your friends, was riding your bike, was being free and uninhibited, speaking your truth. We need to let go of this idea that fun is how many friends you have, your social circle, you know, what you have, what you're driving. It's not fun. It's stressful to keep up with the Joneses. So we really need to let go of that idea that comparing ourselves to others is what we need to feel fulfilled and feel happy.
I'm wondering too if that's the 3 of Cups. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's about emotions.
Right.
Communication. Right. We're a universal year of 3, and so a lot of us are right now, probably, I'm going to surmise that a lot of us are sitting back on our heels, wondering how are we going to communicate that difficult conversation? How are we going to address that difficult problem? Right. As a possibility. And maybe the way that in which we have been communicating, if you guys are stuck in a rut, maybe you've got issues going on with your partner or whatever, maybe you need to release the way in which you've been communicating. What do we let go of was the question, right? And interestingly enough, the card that came up for me was number 13, effort. We need to let go of the effort, remember?
Oh, the push.
Look at the lineup of these cards. The first one we pulled was take a time out. The universe is saying surrender. And now we're saying release the effort.
Right.
13 is about obstacles, right? And it's how we face the obstacle. The 13 says that we're going to meet obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, but how we focus on that obstacle determines how we go through that obstacle. So ask yourself, is life happening to me or is it happening through me?
Yes.
The way in which we're responding to what's happening to us will determine our experience, our reality, right?
What I find really interesting, Anne, is that the timeout and the surrender are both ones, are both new beginnings. It's almost like it's a new idea to relax, you know, and to not push, right?
I love it. Yeah.
That's something that a lot of people, like, that's a new energy for them, because especially in Aries season, they're like, I need to fight, I need to compete, I need to win. And it's like, no, you know, this is a new idea, chill, right?
Exactly. You know, release the need to exert too much effort in this, because you're wasting too much time and effort right now. When you're time right.
Another thing I want to point out, my brother-in-law, he's a life path 3, and he just admitted that he has really bad social anxiety. And it's funny because for us looking at him, we're like, you have so many friends, you're so expressive and positive and optimistic. And internally, he's feeling, you know, very anxious, feeling like he doesn't have that friendship that he really needs. Right. So I think also something that we need to let go of is that appearance, you know, that layer of sociability. If you have social anxiety, don't force yourself you know, listen to your energy, because I think these days a lot of people have social anxiety, but they still force themselves into situations that they don't feel comfortable because of some sort of pressure,
Yep,
right?
absolutely. I was just talking to a family member about that over the weekend.
Right. And it's time to just chill.
It is time to chill.
Yeah, and be alone for a little bit.
The other thing with this card about effort, the number 13, it brings in a karmic component, which says that potentially in a previous lifetime we were lazy. So what happens is when we move this into this lifetime, this card, what it's saying is stop trying to prove yourself, right? You don't need to put so much effort into, release the need to prove yourself all the time. Just let go, just trust.
Right.
Be okay, be okay with who you are.
Right.
I'm telling from this.
Why do you think people do that? Because that's something that I struggle with as well. What's your take on that? Why do we feel like we need to prove ourselves? Why can't we just be and live and just chill?
I understand. I get it. I feel that there are many people who were born on the 13th or the life path numbers are 13 or whatever. These guys have a bigger need to prove themselves because they were lazy in the previous lifetime and they didn't apply themselves. So this time around they have to really apply themselves. And they generally, people who are born on the 13th or 13 life path, they tend to be workaholics, right? So we have to ask ourselves why, you know, where's this insecurity coming from? And I don't know if you and I talked about this earlier or not, but I remember just before Christmas thinking about babies when they're born. You know, when a baby is born, God looks at that baby and goes, oh my God, divine perfection, right?
Yeah.
Perfect child. Regardless of any issues that they got going on, they're the perfect child, right? The mother looks at that baby, the father looks at that baby, divine perfection. Guess what? The baby also feels divine perfection,
Yes.
right? So what do? The first thing they do when they come out of the womb, they cry. Why do they cry? They're cold, they're wet, they're hungry, they're whatever, but they know enough to cry because they're worth it, right? Excuse me, I'm hungry. Ah! Right? Feed me. And the child is fed, right? And so, but it's not, and so the child sees themselves as divine perfection until somebody tells them they're not, or until we choose to believe that we're not.
Right. Well, even with the gender, as soon as you say, okay, look at my little girl, she is going to be this, you know, or he's going to be a doctor. We put those limitations on our kids almost as soon as they come out. I'm totally guilty of it, right? So maybe that's what it is. Maybe at the end of the day, the reason why we are constantly trying to live up to something, we're just trying to live up to our parents. We're just trying to make our parents proud, right? But as a new parent, there's literally, I think, that it doesn't matter what your relationship is with your parents. I think that every parent, there is that level of love that says they know that you are perfect how you are, but it's just a projection of their own insecurities. So telling yourself, you know, my parents are proud of me, my parents have unconditional love for me, regardless of your relationship with them, it should create that shift, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So insecurity is a choice.
Right. I love that. Love that.
Okay.
Are we ready to move on?
Okay.
What else should we let go of? And that is another 7. It's a 7 of Pentacles. So this card, I always think of investments. And once again, he's wearing mismatched shoes, not really knowing where they're going in life. When I think of the feet, I think of the path that we're walking. So for 2 different colored shoes, you know, confusion over which way to go, where to invest our power. Because at the end of the day, every single day, every second of the day, we're deciding where to invest our power by what we pay attention to, right? If I'm going to turn on the news and listen to, you know, all the war and brutality and lack of humanity, that's going to be my scope of understanding for the rest of the day. You know, it's going to really create a lot of frustration internalized. But if we decide to make sure that our attention is focused on something positive, you know, every morning I'm going to make a smoothie and just play with my baby and laugh, that's going to completely change everything. So we need to let go of this idea that we need to be paying attention to the things that we feel society thinks matter, right? Oh, you don't watch the news? You're not into politics? No, I'm happy.
Yeah. So this one kind of made me chuckle a little bit, but in keeping with the Pentacles,
Financial discipline. What we should let go of
Yeah.
is financial discipline.
I know, that's what
I
I
like that. I like that. No, but it's true
However,
though.
I know, right? So I'm
True.
that I would kind of chuckled, but really it's that, again, it's trust and surrender. It's when I look at the 4 and I look at the 8, you know, we're thinking about the 4 is all about having security and needing that security, and the 8's all about, you know, the money itself.
Control.
And the you know, the question you asked was, what else do we need to release? And I think, given the cards, the type of cards I'm working with, this is probably the most in your face card that the angels could have sent us, right?
Right.
Because financial discipline, first of all, when I picked it up, I'm like, what do you mean I gotta let go of financial discipline? I'm pretty good with my money, and you know, that kind of thing. No, I think it's the obsession. I think it's the worry, it's the fear, it's the need to hold it, to control it, right?
Yes.
It's all about power as well, right? Power and authority and money, and the 4 is just, you know, being completely laser focused. Give up the need to be completely laser focused. If you're so focused on the fact you're not making any money, you need to release that, right?
Right.
That's
absolutely. I love that. I find that I make more money the more I spend. When I'm in hoarder mode, like it really does cost money to make money. Yes. So what I always do, and what I try to do, is I try to just always have bills. Like, I think the transference of the online, it's created a disconnect. But yes, pulling your money out, and when you hand that tender over, really envisioning, you know, every person that touches it is going to be blasted with positive energy that you've put on it. It's going to come back to you times 10, right? Even if I'm spending $1, I'm like, this is coming back to me times 10, and every person it hits is going to feel that energy. It's all about intention, right? Money is energy.
Yeah, I remember being in a very, very bad financial situation. I didn't even know where the next dollar was going to come from to buy my groceries. But I remember when I would go and buy the groceries, even if I was buying it on my Visa or however I was making it happen to feed the family, I always remember putting it out there saying, I'm so grateful that I've been able to find a way to pay my groceries. Thank you.
Right. Did you hear that story that Tony Robbins said? He's amazing. He said that he was like destitute, like he had literally $10 to his name, and he went to a restaurant. He's like, this is the last meal I can eat, you know. He's like, so I'm gonna enjoy it. And he sees a little boy sitting with his mom, and he goes up. The mom goes to the washroom, and he goes up to the boy, and he gives him $10, and he says, buy this lunch for your mom. And the boy's like, are you sure? Like, that's crazy. And Tony Robbins is like, you know what? Yes, here's the last of my money. Spoil your mom. He gets home that exact day, and there's like a residual royalty check from a book that he made like 10 years ago. And he got it plus interest. It was like, as soon as he said, I have no control over this, I'm just flowing the energy out, he got it back times 10. So, and if it's Tony Robbins, for me, like that's good gold, right?
Okay, what's under door number 5?
So the last card is, what should we focus on moving forward? And that is the 3 of Pentacles. And this card for me symbolizes making a plan. That's the thing. And I'm totally guilty of it. I know what I don't want. I know what I kind of want, but I don't actually have a goal in mind. So creating that plan, something that you can be proud of yourself, not saying, okay, husband or mom or dad, this is what I'm going to do this. Just internalizing that plan, having that goal in mind, and being proud of it no matter what. Also looking back on your accomplishments, because everybody has at least one thing to be proud of, whether it's their high school diploma, something, whether it's even their driver's license. Everybody has something that they've accomplished to be proud of. That should be the focus moving forward. And that'll completely change the scope of vision when it comes to feeling stuck, because we're going to be like, oh yeah, I remember feeling stuck before, and then afterwards I achieved this. I needed that stuck energy in order to go internal and say, what do I want? What do I want to manifest?
Right. Well, this is an interesting card that came up because it's in keeping with what you just said.
Leadership.
Yes. And I was wondering, how is I going to blend this into what you just said? But just reading it from here, it says this card indicates a time to lovingly lead and guide others who are less capable than you are.
Oh.
Right? So you just said everybody's got something to celebrate. Everybody's got something to love about themselves. So, you know, this card indicates a time to lovingly lead and guide others who are less capable than you are. This may apply to your workplace, community, family, or circle of friends. By drawing this card, you're being encouraged to have confidence in your ability to motivate and inspire those who accompany you on your path.
Wow.
I'm just going to finish it. It says, this card also indicates a role as a leader in your field. You may choose to rise to the top of your game with your unique talents or to lovingly lead others to a new and improved way of life. Either way, it's time to step up to the plate and adopt a position of authority, for you have a natural ability to lead.
Right, right. Yeah, another synchronicity for me. Another synchronicity. Watching Lost last night. She said, you're a leader and that makes you angry and scared, because that is very scary, right? To know that you're kind of at that forefront. But, you know, from what I was watching this TED Talk, and it's not the first person, it's the second person to support that first person, right? So it may be scary, but everybody has that one person that they can trust to support them, that's in their corner, whether it be family or not, even if it's a pet. Focusing on that person that can support you will give that courage and that strength to lead, right? And a lot of the times that support person is the person that you're leading, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Wow. Well, this has been a lot of good information.
Yeah, I already feel that flow. I think even just putting the intention out there that, you know, this is a suspended state. This is kind of, we're all feeling it. We're not alone. We're all feeling very stuck right now. But just acknowledging it and letting go and releasing will flow the energy. It will flow the energy. Regardless of what astrology says, we are in control of our personal energy and we can flow it as much as we can.
And this too shall pass. You know?
Exactly, exactly.
There are so many factors that go into how you're feeling. Your personal your pinnacles, your life path periods, your essences. There are so many things that are involved with how you're feeling, and astrologically, of course, you can explain that. But I think we need to understand that we are on stall right now, and it's okay, right? I think if you understand that we're all in this together, then it's a little bit easier, right?
Right, absolutely.
It will pass.
So, Anne, I have a video that I made that shows how to find exactly where the full moon is affecting each person. So they just need their birth time, but I will I'll send you the link so that you can post it with the video. And it's pretty simple. If there's any questions, people can email me, of course. But yeah, to know exactly where the full moon energy is hitting you, you'll know where to release, because the full moon is all about letting go, right? It's all about that flow. And that full moon is on the 19th on Friday. So I think if we knew where to direct the releasing energy, it'll be more of a benefit.
So, and this is based on your birth time?
Yeah, birth time and birthday. So it's pretty exact.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
It's exactly how it's affecting you. I'll send you yours. It's very easy.
Awesome. All right. Well, this has been great. I think we've never done a tandem reading before, but I
loved it.
How it flowed. That was really fun.
I loved it. I loved it. We need to do these more often for sure.
Absolutely. So hopefully this has helped everybody to understand that, yeah, you might be feeling in a little bit of a rut right now, but you know, this too shall pass. It's just a phase. It's just a timeline. It doesn't define who you are. You know, I usually say my life sucks, and then I look back and I go, nah, it just sucked for them. You know, really?
Exactly.
You know? So if you're feeling that way, okay, you are, but it is going to pass. So that's good news. So,
and we'll appreciate it so much more afterwards, after this time, right? We'll be like, wow, we appreciate the flow now.
Exactly. So that's cool. So be sure to check out Vanessa on beyondyoursunsign.com. Check out her website there, and she's got her YouTube channel. You want to make sure you subscribe to that, and share whatever you feel is going to benefit somebody else, because that's really where it's at. That's why we do what we do. And if you feel that somebody could benefit from this, we sure would appreciate you sharing it. So, all right. Well, thanks so much, Vanessa.
Thank you, Anne. Always a pleasure.
All right. Well, we're going to shut down for today, but we look forward to seeing everybody else in our next video.
Yes. Bye, guys.